And Sean Diddy Combs.
Sean Diddy Combs.
Sean Diddy Combs.
Sean Diddy Combs.
An allegation of sexual misconduct.
In 2022, rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs released the Love album, Off the Grid, collaborating with a range of top music impresarios including producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones. Despite this collaboration, the partnership soured immensely throughout the working relationship, to the point that on February 27, 2024, Jones filed a $30 million lawsuit against Combs in a New York court. Jones's lawsuit alleged that Combs was leading an elaborate crime network that saw him force Jones into a range of illicit activities including sexual harassment and coercion, racketeering, soliciting under girls, acts of GBH and assault, use and selling of narcotics and illegal substances. Whilst Combs has faced an onslaught of allegations from women in regards to sexual assault and harassment, Jones's lawsuit is one of the first to target his entire empire. This meant including several leading music figures within the music industry such as Universal Music CEO Lucian Grange, former Motown Records CEO Ethiopia Habteranian, Combs' chief of staff Christina Koram, Combs' son Justin Dior Combs. The lawsuit would also go on to reference and cite several other famous names within the lawsuit, such as placing allegations against Hollywood star Cuba Gooding Jr. and rapper Young Miami. The biggest theme that reoccurred in Jones's lawsuit was repeated incidents of sexual assault against the producer, most of which was brought on or took place in properties owned by Combs. These encounters reportedly took place in numerous places across the USA, including New York, California, Florida, and the US Virgin Islands. Perhaps the most serious allegation made by Jones was an attempt by an unnamed female to force herself on the producer at a party in Miami. The alleged incident took place on Thanksgiving 2022 at a party in Combs' Miami home. It's here that Jones accuses a female cousin of City Girl singer Young Miami. Jones claims that he withdrew to a bathroom during the party after being harassed by Combs, who was under the influence of both alcohol and cocaine. Whilst in the bathroom, Jones alleges that a cousin of Miss Miami burst into the bathroom and forced herself on him. This included immediately groping Jones's genitalia upon first contact before openly trying to perform oral sex without his permission. It's here that Lil Rod cites that he rejected these actions immediately before the woman alleged following Jones out of the bathroom. After the first incident, Jones then cites that the unnamed female got undressed and straddled the producer, trying to force herself on him and engage in intercourse. All this unfolded in the presence of Combs and his entire entourage. Jones believes and alleges that Combs was the orchestrator of the entire act. In the lawsuit, Jones states that the incident was an attempt to rattle him after rejecting Combs' offer of taking cocaine. However, Jones's lawsuit also alleges that Combs forced him to engage in unwanted sexual acts against his wishes. This was a theme that reportedly happened multiple times during their professional collaboration with numerous parties. Some of the acts were allegedly directly with Combs and took place in several properties owned by the rap mogul. It came as Jones was living with Diddy for months as the two embarked on producing the Love album. According to Jones, Combs' behavior was inappropriate from early on during their working relationship. In the beginning, Jones states that he was forced to work in the bathroom whilst Combs was showering naked. In addition, Combs would also walk around naked in full sight of Jones, with his staff nonchalantly dismissing it as horseplay. The most shocking incident arose when Combs allegedly tried to grab Jones's genitalia and rub it in a bid to encourage sexual relations, with Jones citing himself as heterosexual. These advances made the producer uncomfortable in the presence of Combs. Lil Rod would also raise his concerns to Chief of Staff Christina Kolam, who allegedly dismissed the claims and even hinted that she knew of what Combs was going to try. Yet Jones claims that this was just the tip of the iceberg of the issue. Citing an incident after the problems with Combs, Jones alleges that Combs manipulated an attempt into sexual relations with music producer Stevie J. Jordan, one of Jones's producing idols. Jordan had links with Combs due to their collaboration on his 1997 debut album No Way Out, and was also working on the Love album remotely. Initially, Combs reportedly showed Jones a video of Jordan having sexual relations with an unnamed male to ease his nervousness around the subject. It came amidst numerous persuasions from Combs to make Jones participate in such an action. Combs is even alleged to rig awards to earn Jones Producer of the Year should he be complicit. The lawsuit states that Jones rejected all of these offerings. However, this would not be the end of the pursuits reportedly orchestrated by Combs. In a later incident on board Combs' yacht in the U.S. Virgin Islands, Jones has cited that he was set up by the rap mogul to be fondled by actor Cuba Gooding Jr. During the yacht trip in January 2023, Jones says that he, Combs, and Gooding Jr. had spent time in a studio based on the yacht. After introductions were made, Combs apparently left the other two to get to know each other better. It's at this moment that Jones accuses Gooding Jr. of fondling and stroking his leg provocatively, moving further towards his private region. Despite rejecting the actor's advances, Jones states that the actor refused to stop until the producer pushed Gooding Jr. away and left the room. The culture of debauchery and illegal sexual activity is something that Jones alleges is part of everyday life for Combs, so much so that the music producer accused Combs of actively engaging in sex trafficking, as well as trying to solicit underage girls into intercourse. It was an action that Jones admittedly did himself under coercion from Combs and his entourage. In the lawsuit, Jones goes into great detail about how he would be sent to get workers for Combs to use regularly at parties and for his own entertainment. It was an act that Jones did on multiple occasions. Within the lawsuit, Jones states that these incidents took place in November 2022 in Miami, during the Thanksgiving weekend. Jones says that Combs explicated him to visit the Booby Trap bar, where he had to wear a bad boy baseball cap indicating who he worked for. When at the venue, sex workers would approach Jones, who then took them back to Combs' home. It's here that Jones alleges that he was forced by Combs to have sex with the workers for Combs' pleasure. This allegedly happened on multiple occasions between November 2022 and February 2023. In another incident on February 2, 2023, Jones cites that after repeating the same trip to the Booby Trap for Combs in Miami, woke up after intercourse with two prostitutes without any recollection. He then alleges that Combs spiked his drink with drugs to participate in activities without any hesitation. Yet this was perhaps the least harrowing of the accusations made by Jones, who further went on to say that Combs also allowed underage minors to participate in similar activities at his parties. The lawsuit cites an incident in July of 2023 where an incident happened during a listening party for the Love album. Jones claims in the lawsuit that on July 2, 2023, Combs hosted a listening party for the new album attended by Combs' son Justin, the album production team, and a host of invited attendees. In the event, Jones stated there were at least 5 girls at the event, invited by Justin Dior Combs. The party was described to have a host of illegal substances, including alcoholic drinks laced with ecstasy. Throughout the event, Jones stated that he was uncomfortable with the presence of drugs, minors, and sex workers, but that Combs confiscated his keys to prevent him from leaving. It is then claimed that Jones saw an unnamed famous singer perform sexual acts with a minor as the evening progressed. Furthermore, Jones claims he was forced to drink the ecstasy-laced alcohol and woke up without any short-term memory next to one of the sex workers in bed. Among the litany of sexual allegations levied against Combs, Jones frequently states in the lawsuit that Combs coerced individuals into doing his bidding. He also stated that failure to do just that ended in assault or acts of violence. One alleged incident that Jones allegedly bore witness to was an altercation between Combs and one of Justin Combs' friends, only named as Mr. G. The incident itself took place at Chalice Studios in Los Angeles on September 12, 2022. Originally, Combs and Jones were there as part of a writing and recording camp for the Love album. During the camp, Jones states that he was sat next to a bathroom before overhearing a disagreement between Sean Combs and Mr. G. As the argument escalated, Jones believed that a gun was pulled by Combs, who then proceeded to shoot Mr. G in both his stomach and upper leg. Jones states that he helped stem Mr. G's bleeding and helped stabilize him before paramedics arrived. It is known that Mr. G was taken to hospital in a stable condition and survived the incident. Police were called to the scene, yet no one publicly claimed to see the incident happen. Jones goes on to allege that Combs lied about his whereabouts and said that the shooting happened outside the studio itself. Not only does Jones refute these claims in the lawsuit, but also said that other witnesses were scared into staying silent out of fear of repercussions for Combs and his entourage. Jones claims that this was just one incident that made him hesitant to go against Combs, who would often threaten the producer with violence should he choose to disobey Combs' wishes. This included regular threats to harm him, such as beating him and eating his face. There were also multiple showcases of a large firearms collection, and that he could easily get away with slipping in weapons to any public club or establishment he was at. It was this intimidating behavior that Jones alleges made him continue to work with Combs on the album. With many of the allegations centered around Combs himself, Jones's lawsuit brought on actions levied against those doing business practices with the rap mogul. Indeed, some of the allegations aim at some of the most powerful people in the music industry, none more so than taking on Universal Records CEO Lucian Grange and former head of Motown Records, Ethiopia Habtemarian. Some of the biggest claims launched against the music executives revolve around turning a blind eye to Combs' illegal activities. When recounting the shooting of Mr. G at Chalice Studios, Jones said that Universal was supposed to provide private security for the duration of the event. However, Jones stated that the security was lackluster and turned a blind eye to any of Combs' activities. This included allowing weapons into the studio at his behest. Because of this, Jones believes that Grange and Universal should bear some of the cost for experiencing distressing scenes that day. He also believes that they were privy to letting Combs get away with whatever he could, despite knowing what happened. Yet the incidents linking Universal Music Group and Motown are just nestled into that one particular incident. Jones also launches allegations of defrauding him financially about working on the Love album. The claims state that Jones was working under a work-for-hire agreement, giving payment for anything he produced. He goes on to claim that he was cited as a producer on no less than 9 songs on the album. In the lawsuit, Jones states that he was only offered $29,000 by Combs and his partners, much less than the $50,000 sought by the producer. This was an amount that Jones stated was for a 13-month collaboration period, including living away from home for much of this time. It's here that Jones also claimed that he took to social media to criticize Combs and the record labels for shortchanging him on his music efforts. After this, Jones claims he was then threatened should he persist with his claims for fair play. Jones claims that the threats came from numerous people linked with Combs, including fellow producer Stevie J and DeForest Taylor, A&R director for Combs' Enterprise Love Records. These threats allegedly came through SMS messages and emails which would look to discredit Jones as a producer and his career in the industry. The lawsuit from Jones adds further damage to Combs' image and reputation, especially with the allegations further backed up by screenshots, images, and videos of the supposed incidents that took place during the year-long collaboration. However, Jones's lawsuit also went one step further by casting a spotlight and naming those who helped Combs participate in various illegal activities, as well as accusing powerful industry figures of knowingly allowing Combs to actively commit crimes within their presence. Jones goes further, exposing the key players within the mogul setup. Some of the biggest allegations are launched towards Combs' chief of staff, Christina Coram, who he compares to Ghislaine Maxwell in terms of actions and behavior. Jones cites Coram as the one responsible for ensuring that Combs is always able to access and receive illegal drugs and weapons, as well as sourcing sex workers and even underage fans to participate in Combs' dealings. Jones cites her as being the one who networks with multiple agents and gives the orders relayed from Combs to keep the mogul happy at all times. Jones claims that Coram directs no less than 5 key individuals to look after certain parts of Combs' empire. This includes Justin Combs, cited as being responsible for soliciting sex workers, prostitutes, and underage girls for intercourse with Sean Combs. Also a regular participant in filmed sex videos known as freak-offs. Stevie J, cited as being responsible for soliciting sex workers and participating in freak-offs. Brendan Paul, cited as being responsible for sourcing and carrying drugs and weapons for Combs. Frankie Santella, cited as supplying and buying drugs and weapons to Combs, also acts as Vice President of Music, Management, and Strategic Partnerships for Combs Global. Moy Bond, cited as being responsible for soliciting sex workers and participating in freak-offs. Within the lawsuit, Jones claims that each of the parties played key roles in encouraging Combs' illegal activities and allowing him to create an aura of fear and violence should anyone stand up to the wishes of the rap mogul. Aside from Coram, Jones also alleges that Combs' head of security Fahim Muhammad was complicit in bribing law enforcement to not press charges against any of his illegal affairs. For example, Jones cites that the LAPD were present during the Mr. G shooting, yet no charges were ever placed. Jones alleges that it was Muhammad who was responsible for making sure that no charges were placed, despite police seeing blood in the bathroom in the aftermath of the scene. It was further implied that Muhammad was seen several times conversing with officers who attended the call. Furthermore, Jones also states that Muhammad is also regularly present with Combs in Miami, having a similar relationship with law enforcement over there. Jones allegedly recalls that Muhammad was able to prevent roadside inspections in the city, and that he was the first person to call should anyone with Combs be pulled over by the police. The final name to be mentioned in the script is a tech professional named Jose Cruz. Jones states that Cruz is Combs' right-hand man for surveillance and tech. In the lawsuit, Jones claims that Cruz has footage of anyone who has ever spent time with Diddy, including a huge library of compromising videos on anyone who was at a party or freak-off hosted by Combs. Jones states that Combs uses Cruz to capture the footage and blackmail individuals to go along with whatever Combs was to do. He also claims that this is the reason that well-known figures such as Stevie J, Lucian Grange, and Ethiopia Habtemarian are all part of the Mogul's extended network. The lawsuit would also go on to make claims that Cruz could also have compromising footage of other celebrities, politicians, and sports stars within the vast illegal library of videos. The claims made by Jones have been rubbished by Combs and his legal representatives. In a statement to the LA Times, Combs' legal representative Sean Hawley denounced Jones as a liar who filed a $30 million lawsuit shamelessly, looking for an undeserved payday. Hawley would continue his statement by stating that the reckless name-dropping about events are pure fiction and simply did not happen, is nothing more than a transparent attempt to garner headlines. Hawley would end the statement by saying that he tried to reach out to Jones and his legal representative Tyrone Blackburn to discuss the matter, but all the calls had been ignored. Many of the other parties named in the lawsuit have refrained from comments, with representatives of Quorum, Grange, and Habtemarian being just a few to stay silent on the matter. However, Justin Combs launched his defense, telling NBC News that he categorically denies these absurd allegations. Your Combs would continue saying that they, the claims, are all lies. This is a clear example of a desperate person taking desperate measures in hopes of a payday. The Combs family have stated that they would go on to fight the claims with proof of their own, and that the defamatory comments would be settled in a court of law. Since the lawsuit was published, Jones has stayed silent on the matter. Professionally, Jones has continued to work in the music industry, having worked recently on projects with the likes of T-Pain on the 2023 single Surgical.